Brothers and sisters, this is taken from the kitab Laṭāʻif al-Maʿārif by Ibn Rajab al-Ḥanbalī. If you go to page 48, it's taken from there, inshaAllah ta'ala. Ibn Rajab al-Ḥanbalī, he says, Ashura has gone through stages, marahil. Yani the fasting of the day of Ashura, marra bi marahil, it has gone through stages. The first stage is the Prophet used to fast it مع أهل الجاهلية. The Prophet used to fast it with who? أهل الجاهلية, the non-Muslims. The Prophet used to, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this was authentically transmitted in Bukhari and Muslim. من حديث عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها, where she said, كان يوم عاشوراء تصومه قريش. Quraysh used to fast the day of Ashura في الجاهلية, before Islam. وكان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصومه. And the Prophet used to fast. So that's the first marhala. The second stage in which it went through the fasting of Yawm Ashura is when the Prophet came to the city of Medina and he saw the Jews of Medina, and there were three tribes of the Jews: Banu Qurayza, Banu Qaynuqa', and Banu Nadir. These were the three tribes of the Jews that lived in what? In Medina. When the Prophet came to the city of Medina and he saw the Jews fasting, the Prophet ﷺ commanded the Sahabas to fast. And he said, you have to fast. And this is what Imam al-Bukhari and Muslim both narrated in their Sahih min Hadith ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, where he says, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما قدم المدينة, when the Prophet came to Medina, رأى اليهود صياما, he saw that the Jews were fasting يوم عاشوراء. فسألهم, the Prophet asked them, why are you guys fasting for? فقالوا, they said, هذا يوم عظيم. The reason we're fasting is because it's a great day. أنجى الله فيه موسى, Allah saved Nabi Allah Musa on this day and his people. And Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, at this day, he drowned Fir'aun and his people, yani his army. And they said, the Jews, Nabiullah Musa fast this day shukran lillahi ta'ala, to show gratitude to Allah. And they said, we will also fast shukran lillahi ta'ala. And then the Prophet said the famous hadith that you all know, نحن أولى بموسى منكم. نحن أولى بموسى منكم. We are more closer to Nabi Allah Musa than you. What does the Prophet mean we are more closer to Musa minkum? The Prophet ﷺ, he is referring to in terms of Aqidah and in terms of religion. They've strayed from the religion of Nabi Allah Musa alayhi salam. Are we all together? They strayed for it. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, what did he say in the hadith? Al-Anbiya, the prophets are what? Allat. Allat, what does it mean in Arabic? The word Allat is Jam'u Allah. And what it means is children who have the same dad but different mums. فهمتم? So when the Prophet said Al-Anbiya Allat, he mentions to you right after that, Abuhum wahid, Amadinuna wahid. And the shara'i is what? The legislation is shatta, meaning they have the same, Allat is children who have the same dad, but they all have same different mums. All of them go back to the same father, but they all have their mothers. All the prophets, Tawheed is what they all come together on, but the halal and the haram is different for each one. Fahimtum? So Nabi Allah Musa, Tawheed is the same as Nabi Allah Muhammad, but the salah was different and ahkam were different. Naam, Habibi. the third marhala. The third marhala is what? When the month of Ramadan came. Ashura, we spoke about it. المرحلة الثالثة is, Ibn Rajab mentions in his kitab Laṭāʻif al-Maʿārif, أنه لما فرض رمضان, when the month of Ramadan was obliged, صام, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he fasted the day of Ashura, not as an obligatory act. يعني قبل رمضان Ashura was wajib. You had to fast. Because I mentioned it to you, when the Prophet ﷺ saw the Yahud fast, what did he say to the companions? He said, fast Ashura. And he made it obligatory on them. صح? Like when Ramadan came, the Prophet ﷺ, he gave them the choice. Whoever wants to fast and Ashura can, and whoever wants can leave it. We have Ramadan, which is obligatory. That's why the Prophet, in the hadith في الصحيحين من hadith Aisha, it says, فَلَمَّا قَدِمَ الْمَدِينَةِ, when the Prophet came to the city of Medina, صَامَهُ, he fast Ashura. وَأَمَرَ بِصِيَامِهِ, and he commanded the people to fast. So you see, that's the beginning. فَلَمَّا فُرِضَ رَمَضَان, when Ramadan was made obligatory, تَرَكَ يَوْمَ عَاشُورَا, the Prophet left the fasting of Ashura. And he then said, فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ, anyone who wants to fast it, let them fast it. وَمَنْ شَاءَ, and anyone who wants, leave it off. Does that make sense? لكن قبل فرض رمضان Ashura was obligatory. You had to fast it. And then this is the three marahil it went through. The fourth marhala, which is the fourth marhala, is أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم خالف اليهود. The fourth marhala was when the Prophet wanted to go against the Yahud. So what did he legislate? He said fast on the 9th. Fast on the what? On the 9th. With the 10th. Are we all together? And the reason why the Prophet did this was مُخَالَفَةً لِلْيَهُودِ. He wanted to go against the Yahud. And this is something that the Prophet ﷺ was. The first time the Prophet came to the city of Medina, he would, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he would copy, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ahlul Kitab. If there was no issue that the Quran and the Sunnah did not come regarding it, Nabi Muhammad would do what Ahlul Kitab would do. Because the Prophet didn't want to follow the mushrikeen, who didn't have no book. But if you look at the Prophet's later stages, he didn't want to follow the Yahud and the Nasara. The Prophet ﷺ, he would oppose them. But the 9th, the Prophet never fasted. He didn't physically do it. But he said, لَإِن بَقِيتُ إِلَىٰ قَابِلٍ, if I reach next year, لَأَصُومَنَّ الْيَوْمَ التَّاسِعِ, I'm going to fast on the 9th day with the 10th. Some people, they think it means that the Prophet is saying, I'll fast on the 9th and I'll not fast the 10th. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, with the 10th, I will fast the 9th. These are the 4 marahil, the 4 stages that the fasting of Ashura had gone through. Does that make sense, everyone? Let me repeat it one more time. Al-marhalatul ula was what? The Prophet used to fast, and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam kana yasumu, he used to fast with ma'a ahli al-jahiliyyah. This is before the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam became a prophet. Second marhala was, the Prophet came to the city of Medina. When he came to the city of Medina, he saw the Jews were fasting. He saw the Jews were fasting, and the Prophet ﷺ, he asked the Jews, why are you fasting? They told him this was the day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa and his people. And they said that Musa fasted on this particular day, and we, the followers of Musa, we will fast on this day, just like Musa fasted, because Musa fasted to show gratitude to Allah, and we are going to also show gratitude to Allah. And then the Prophet then said to them, نحن أولى بموسى منكم. And then the Prophet said to his companions, you have to fast the day of Ashura. And they all fasted. And it used to be obligatory that time. And then the third stage came, which is مرحلة الثالثة, where Ramadan was made obligatory. When Ramadan came and it was made obligatory, Ashura was now a choice. If you wanted to fast it, you could, and if you wanted to leave it, you also could leave it. And then came the fourth and final stage, where the Prophet ﷺ, he added on it an additional day that the Yahud did not have, which is, he said, fasting on the 9th with the 10th.